You're listening to the Salty Sex Cast with Mariah and friends. Minimize the fear. Expand your awareness.
Hello.
Hey.
We are in studio.
Again.
It's been a minute.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. I've had some...
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say I felt kind of worthless.
Oh, and I was just going to say I've had some like long distance guests, so they can't come to the studio. And it's
easier.
It's easier, and also you don't get great internet out in the boonies, but you get great sound quality. Let me tell you what.
The internet should be improving because we're switching it up.
Sweet. Nice.
So, yeah.
I mean, we're still in a brick box, so figure that one out, but
yeah,
you're fine.
I can solve that. That issue's easy.
Anyway, it's Mariah here with Brady.
Hi.
My cute sidekick.
I thought you were going to call me a queef. I was like, what did I do?
Oh, it kind of did. Queef. Yeah.
Queet? Like a cute queef? Queet?
A front poot.
Ooh.
Okay.
That needs to go in the glossary. A queet.
Oh, a queet.
Yeah. I'm going to write it down.
Do it. Good. I stole your notepad.
It's okay.
I was drawing boobs.
Queet?
Queet.
Quiet?
A cute queef.
Okay, we're going to have to figure out how to spell it.
Queet.
Because it's basically spelled like quiet when I wrote it down.
Queee?
Yeah, there you go. I like that.
Queet?
Queet.
Or do you want to eat a queet? No, that sounds like wheat. That makes me think of wheat too. We need the EE.
Yeah, EEAT. Anyways. How have you been?
I've been good. Really fucking busy, but that is normal.
So one of my tasks for the studio is when we have in-studio guests, we give them candles. Mm-hmm. And I've suddenly run into a problem where when I make the candles, they break every time I take them out of the mold.
Your dick's too big.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, you were saying something. Got very distracted after I complimented your dick size.
I don't even remember what we were talking about.
Candles. They break.
I'm going to have to figure out some kind of a hardening material.
Yeah. There's a blue pill for that. I wonder if you can dose the candles with it.
I have some of those. I could try. Yeah.
Interesting.
Grind it up, drop it in there.
Yeah. So I've been busy. We got to go on a fun podcast as a guest, which was really fun.
What podcast?
It is... Shit.
That's a terrible name for a podcast.
No, I am... Hard Talks.
Oh, okay.
With Blonde and Hippie.
Okay.
A blonde and a hippie? Oh, I totally fucked up their name. But you know how many times everybody fucks up our podcast name? And we have 3 words for our name, so I don't feel that bad. But yeah, it was really fun. And Alicia was the host, and I got to go hang out with her and on her podcast. So if you like what we talk about, if you have fun listening to our podcast, you'll really enjoy that podcast. I'll put it in our show notes.
Got featured.
Our podcast got featured.
What is the thing again?
Pop Sugar.
Pop Sugar. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's just like a trendy website that like has like articles and stuff like that, right? But they had the top 10 sexual health podcasts to listen
like
to.
number 3.
And I was number 3. I was like, God damn.
Way to go.
Thanks. It was really cool. I'm glad that
you're the Joe Rogan of sex.
I want to get paid. I want that paycheck of Joe Rogan's. Nah. We don't make any money off of this podcast.
Nope.
None. This is a passion project. I love sex and connecting with people and creating that awareness and that safety for this that much. So we do have a Patreon that every cent from that just gets put back into the podcast, helps with spreading the word of everything. We help with other events that are, sex positive and increasing, sexual health and awareness and things like that. So
the new soundboard.
Yeah.
The cute little, if you're watching on YouTube, the cute little, what are those called? Sheer
curtains with lights behind me. I have
the camera that shows the people that.
Hi. Hi. I'm not even looking into the camera. It's kind of blinding. I can barely see your face because you're right behind the light.
I'm doing that on purpose.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm cuter if there's some
I'll just
mystery.
squint.
I can turn it down, but this is the setting.
No, this is the setting.
Okay.
Fuck with my light settings.
I won't.
Oh, but it's been, some things are happening. It's still hard to increase as much, but it's still such a priority to keep the podcast alive and thriving as much as it can. And so every other week is what we can give you. And we're so glad that everyone who's still stuck with us is still really appreciating that and still listening and supporting our messages that we're sharing.
We've had our ups and downs, right? Even when you guys first kicked it off, we were doing a show every week.
Well, and the sound quality and, so by
Lost
the time...
episodes.
Lost episodes. Do you want to get smacked in the face? No, just kidding.
I tried really hard not to do that, and I don't know how it happened every time.
It was so
not every
weird.
time, but it was like it was like a very specific episode we tried like 3 times.
Well, and there just was no... It was a ghost file. Like there was no evidence that it was ever on the computer. It was so weird.
Because I tried recovery programs and everything.
Yeah, so it's like usually computers, like you have to work hard to get rid of that file. So anyway, by the time this podcast airs, we will have been recording for 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years.
So cool.
Pretty cool.
We were thinking about doing a party again, but this time of year, it's a little late in planning for us.
Yeah.
We've been apart, so maybe not this year.
Maybe I'll hire like a party planner. Nah, I'll just throw a party. Who cares?
Yeah.
On our farmland.
I feel like we could do
On
like a
our
BYO.
farmland. Yours. What? A BI what?
Like a bring your own chair and food and drinks.
Yeah.
You just show up and we'll be here, and if you want, we'll build you a fire party.
I've always thought of that and how fun it would be to like do like a speed dating type podcast. Just come on, say hi, switch. Come on, say hi, say something about like your favorite thing that you loved about
We
the
just had a
podcast.
line out the door.
Yeah. Just
like
a few
that.
minutes.
We could do that as a fundraiser for something new in the studio. We do want to insulate it better. Pay $1 to come in and say hi and then run out the door for the next guy.
Okay.
Or gal.
I'll let you organize that one, my friend. I don't want to organize anything right now.
Yeah.
Editing the podcast, getting it up, doing all that, keeping social media alive. It's good enough for me for now. And getting guests continually,
I'm doing better at Twitter. Not
Thank
great.
you.
I have missed a few days, but I'm back to posting semi-regularly.
So you post maybe as often as you have sex?
No, I think I post more.
Oh, okay. Well, I was trying to make a joke, but now that was just kind of sad. Just kidding.
Well, mine was a joke. I think I do get laid more than I have Twitter posts.
Everyone go count how many Twitter posts there were and let's see how many times we know. Should that be the sign that we know you got laid? There's a Twitter post?
Oh, I don't know if Jamie would be okay with me sharing that with the world suddenly.
Everyone's judging you.
I do
5
like that
times
plan, though.
today, huh?
Oh, yeah. I'll do half a post for masturbating.
A period and post it. I don't know. I don't know how the tweet world works, so I let you do it.
Yeah.
I don't want to learn another social media platform.
Right.
Facebook is already shit.
Right.
Not like our Facebook page. I do actually really like the interactions we get, the Facebook page and everything. But like Facebook in general.
So they're never going to advertise with us now.
Well, I don't want to advertise on Facebook. They don't need advertisements with us. They ask me for money all the time. They're like, do you want to boost this post? Pay us money. We'll show it to more people. I'm like, okay, no. Like, why? I don't know. What else has been up in your world since we've hung out?
Jamie and I completed our second visit to the nudist resort, which we're going to talk about on the After Hours episode for our patrons.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to catch that, all the fun details, and I heard someone earned a medal. So that's all I'm going to say.
A medal.
A medal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome. And you bought something that you get a ride from there. Oh, I was going to give more away than I was going to, but whatever. I'm trying to tease for.
It could be a lot of things
for the Patreon episode. So we have special episodes that we just released to our patrons, and we have Patreon levels as low as $5 a month. Like we said, this just helps keep us moving. If you don't want to stay for long term, you just want to hang out for a minute, just hang out for a minute.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
I like it.
Yeah. I'm full blown into the semester at this point.
Teaching.
A human sexuality class is kind of interesting. There's certain posts that like, cause so there's like a discussion board that everyone has to post and like answer a question that I talk about. Right. And there's some students that are like, fuck yeah, like more of that, but I can't pick favorites. And like, I'm not, as the instructor, I don't want to comment on it because it'd be very obvious the people I'm like kind of favoring, right? But there's some people that just have really wonderful insights, and there's other people that are super, super ignorant. Like that's like the only way to put it, that I'm like, why are you even in this class? It's kind of interesting. There's been some microaggressions with what people have said. I was like, oh, okay. Like someone said, oh, you're really caring for a guy. Oh, that's a sexist microaggression. Against men, right? Yeah. Yeah. So it's just like, okay, do I call it out? It's not part of my lesson plan. It's not part of the curriculum. So I'm like, I want them to have a positive experience. It's already a heavy topic. For some people, it's very, very scary, right? The very first time they probably ever have talked about sexuality. But one question I did post was, what was your main source of education on sexuality? 99%. Well, okay, I'm being dramatic. 90%, and that's probably a better statistic, was all from friends. People just learn from friends. Most of the students who posted said like, yeah, maybe my parents said one or two things, or it was like the maturation program, in elementary. But that's all we got. And it was pretty much all just anatomy, maybe physiology, like, hey, this is how your body works or changes, that kind of thing. But nothing, or like the mechanics of sex. Have you got any trial and error plus porn answers? I'm sorry. Oh, for like the sex education piece, like what they learned about it. Where they learned it from. No one's going to admit that to the whole class. I would. Well, you're a different breed. And you need to sign up for that class. If I teach it again. I'm gonna. Please do. Okay. Because you get perks. Your wife gets you perks, my friend. I know. Take advantage of that. Free education we're going to do it. It's a really cool thing. Anyway. I don't want to ruin my life with school. Take my one class. If you hate it. No more school? No. Don't do it. Drop out. I don't care. Am I at least going to get a certificate of... Well, I can't drop out of your class. I'd feel like such a dick. Can I make you a sex certificate? Yeah. I want a certificate of early completion. Premature completion. Premature. Yeah, see, it just naturally came off my... There are some things I have to be careful. Off your tongue? Is that what you're going to say? I was going to say it. There are some things I have to watch and how I say in my tone with things, because I am so casual. Yeah. It's not something I fear. It's not something... Isn't a human sexuality class the place to be casual? Yeah, it's required for the nursing program. So you'll get a lot of folks in there because... they're really about like the anatomy and physiology, right? They are clean cut. I don't want to hear the emotions. I don't want to hear this. Sure, I might have to cath somebody that looks like a woman, but now I have, a male part kind of thing and that kind of thing. The only reason I know that is because my mother-in-law is a nurse and she's told us those stories, and she's just very rude about it. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what to... It's hard when you're trying to correct family because you don't want to make a sting. I know it is a losing battle. Yeah. But I don't fuel it, and I am very, very, very gentle when I try to open up their awareness a little bit more. And I'm like, oh, good for that person. That's just kind of what I try to say. Anyway, I don't want to stay on that topic, and I'll just go down a negative place. But yeah, so it's kind of interesting when we start talking about like the psychology of sex and even like gender expression and things. It's like no, you have these parts. This is you. We even talk about how your chromosome, like there are cases where you do have an XY.
Yeah.
So that's male.
Sure.
But they have all the parts of a female because there was some type of like blocking for, I don't sound like a teacher right now at all.
like the genes didn't express themselves correctly. There was some sort of a block in the code.
Yeah, so it's a birth defect.
Yeah.
So it's not well, I guess they're technically considered intersex, but like from the outside, everything is female expressing, right? And so the only way they knew is because of either something about their period by the time they aged or whatever, or
genetic testing,
because there's some that like we'll never even know.
Oh,
so that's how normal.
So they're XY.
Like I don't even want to say normal, but like expressing a female, but they're XY chromosome. So it's just interesting.
Are they able to get pregnant?
I don't know.
Okay. If you do know, email us at saltysexcast@gmail.com.
Well, I mean, I can refer back to my textbook, right? But
that's boring. I want to get in an email. Don't make me go to school.
There's like less than 10 cases ever recorded.
Oh.
So people this isn't like knowledge that's easy to find, right? So, but I'm just saying, you can't even tell somebody what's your genetic makeup. That's the sex you are. You know, the dumb argument that you hear from ignorant people that don't want to admit that there's more than two genders and then there's all these things, right?
I feel like I've read articles where people have thought they were one way and then they like hit puberty and they were like, what the hell is all this other stuff that's happening? And then you're like, oh yeah, you've got this going on.
And there's a lot of intersex. So our ages, when we were born, they were still doing required, I guess, I don't know if it was required, where they would just they pretty much flip a coin and assign that gender to you. So if you had like an in-between genitalia, they would just, and most of the time it was...
Who assigns it? The doctor?
The doctors, the surgeons. Yeah.
Interesting.
So really they would just kind of look at the tissue there and see what that they could work with, and then would just like try to make it as normal looking of closest to that sex.
Oh, like they'd start doing surgeries?
Yeah. And then tell the parents, hey, raise that child like a girl or raise that child like a boy. And then they're finding out that really gender expression is far more than just what you have. And
sure,
there's a famous case. Like I said, I have the worst memory. If I have shit in front of me, if I have my notes, lecture notes, whatever like that. But there's a famous case where
we should do an episode on this.
Two twin boys were, you know, and one was born that was kind of like, oh no, what happened is his circumcision. Something happened. And so they were like, hey, actually, we've pretty much mutilated your son at this point. So we're just going to turn him into a girl, raise him like a girl. And had a lot of problems, and then hit puberty, found out really you were a boy. This happened. So we've been raising you this girl. And there's a book, and I think it's called A Boy Who Was Raised as a Girl. Like it's a pretty simple title that has his story about it. He ended up committing suicide, and then his twin ended up committing suicide into adulthood. Had a lot of problems about it too later on.
So maybe I don't want to read this book. At first I did. Now I'm concerned.
Yeah. But that's the suicide rate is really high of those who were never told that, hey, you were born intersex or something, you know, wasn't overly developed. And so we just picked which gender you were going to be. And so it was, I mean, like high rates of depression and all sorts of things, like having hard to function, which is like you would have never known until someone told you, or maybe until you hit like puberty and you're like, why isn't my period starting? Oh, because I don't really have a uterus.
Right. What's going on here?
Vaginal canal, but that's about, you know. So anyway, it's quite interesting and really, really sad. And now those surgeries are only done for function. So, you know, if like a urethra isn't fully developed, something like that.
Sure.
Doctors will do that in infancy, but then they'll usually wait until the child
decides for themselves.
And then they have like counselors and therapists and stuff to help with the family and say, hey, you know,
things are going to be confusing for a little while, but you'll figure it out.
Things might be a little different and they might be expressing this or that and, you know, encourage it. And I'm sure it definitely depends on the family, which is really sad if there's like a very closed-minded family who's very strict to gender roles. And then, so lots of things.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I just don't sound very educated as I'm like this one person and this one time and then this thing and I forgot what it's called. But
we're also coming off the eve of a party.
We are.
We were drinking.
But even if I wasn't, I still don't remember those things. Like my brain just doesn't have room for it. I don't remember dates, names. Like just it's terrible. I can't even remember normal nouns, right? You know, anomicaphasia is hard. I think it's just I'm always thinking about something. I was trying to tell Justin that one day. I got a little tipsy. And I was just tipsy by myself, right? Because I was cleaning the house on a Saturday afternoon. I was like, I'm going to have a couple drinks. Then I got really obnoxious, but it's okay.
You?
And, yeah.
What?
And I was just like, what do you think of when you look around? He's like, what do you mean? What do I think about? And I was like, do you not see this? And then realize if you do this and that, and then it'll affect this, but then you have to do this first. And then you forgot, like, if you do that, you need to go buy this. And I just listed off, and it probably took me like 10 minutes just to describe this one thing.
Yeah.
And he's all, dear God.
He was just like ready to leave.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just going to go outside and sit in the sun.
I was like, really? What do you see when you look around? He's like,
none of that.
None of that. I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, this is every time. Why do you think I'm exhausted all the time?
I tease Jamie all the time because she'll tell me what's going on in her head. Like the day before, like today would be a good example because we're both going to be going back to work on Monday. Mm-hmm. And she'll tell me all the stuff that like she's like mentally prepared for. And I'm just like, ugh, your life sucks.
And that's why I said, I'm like, it's the mental load is far heavier than the actual physical task load that I have. I have so many hours in the day, I can get things physically done, checked off, you know, I have something to present, something's completed, whatever. The mental load of keeping that list, prioritizing that list. If anything happens, then I have to reprioritize and shift this. Don't forget that. Like, that's what's more exhausting than anything else. And I have very different roles.
I feel like I'm a cheater in that sense because I'm just sort of like,
how do people just go to work and come home? They just have two roles. What? You are a worker and you're a home person? I mean, sometimes you're a worker, a home person, a parent.
Sure.
Not that I'm like,
sometimes
that's all you are. But no, but I'm just saying I'm like, gosh, that's crazy. But I feel like I hold a lot of hats that.
I mean, I guess if I were to really think about it, that like I do work and then I come home and while I'm home, I can be a repairman.
You don't work? Yeah, but you're not.
Well, but I'm not bringing my work home.
A little bit. So sometimes you're on call and sometimes you have to like answer those emergency things. But like you can pretty much leave work at work for the most part, right?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah. And I work at home.
That sucks.
All three of my jobs are at home.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like fun at all because it feels like you've never left the office.
Yeah. So it does. It's a little bit. I've set up my office. It's kind of funny down in my basement. So if anyone's seen some of our Zoom episodes, you'll know when I'm home doing a Zoom. Well, duh. And also there's two people on screen instead of just me. I'm an idiot. But there's one side of my office that has like a naked picture. They're kind of naked. It's like an art, whatever, sketches behind me. And then if I switch to the other side of my desk, that's where I'm on Zoom for like my job. So I have two sides of my desk that I dedicate to different tasks. So
I don't even,
Well, I also have two different computers, you know, so that's.
Wow.
At any given moment in my office, I have 6 screens.
Ugh.
So that's a little ridiculous. Anyway, if anyone's watching the camera, if you're on YouTube watching this, hello. But if I keep shifting back and forth from side to side from the camera, it's because I have Brady on this side. And then my lovely guest, who shall be unnamed.
We already said she was going to be on the...
Oh, shit. Oh, okay. Well, Jamie's here.
Jamie's been on the show before.
Yeah. Well, and
she's just sitting in on this, and then we're going to do the after hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, that sounds miserable. Because, I mean, like, I'll come home and I'll be like, man, I really need to take a break because I've had a busy day at work. Mm-hmm. And then I have to put on my, I don't know, carpenter hat and then put on my lawn mowing hat. But it's nothing like what you're describing or what Jamie describes.
And I don't stop either. Like,
I wonder if that's a personality type or is that like...
Justin and I were actually just talking about that. Because I had to bring a unique fact about yourself to work. So I had to find a fucking work appropriate unique fact. And so I was like, help me out. Then they were all trying to match it to the people right around us. And we'd all have to guess who it is. And I was like, what's a unique fact about me? Like, I'm left-handed. Oh, that's cool. You know, like, I couldn't think of anything. And he was just like, he's like, that you're a workhorse, that you never stop, that you don't know what stop means. And I was like, yeah, that's not unique. Like, that's not cool. Like, so anyway.
Well, I think there's different versions of that, right? Like, I feel like I'm a workhorse when I'm at work. When I get home, I do kind of get lazy.
But you've set your life up for that, right? Yeah. I can say no to things.
You just don't.
I've been working on this.
I've had to learn to say no to Jamie.
Yeah.
When it comes to...
And you've said no to me, and I'm really proud of that.
Yeah.
You say, hey, it's not going to happen this week. I've got this going on and this going on. It's totally fine. Yeah. You know your limits, and it's a healthy boundary to say no.
But if the role had been switched, you would have been like, okay, fuck.
For me to, if I were you, I would have been.
You would have been like, all right.
I do hate disappointing people.
Yeah.
And that was honestly one reason I did.
Sometimes when I do say no to someone finally, though, it's like a, fuck, dude, this has been too much. Like, I gotta take a break.
And you almost blow up, and it's almost like it's a negative thing. And if you just said no before, you know, like learning those limits are hard. Yeah. So even the podcast, like going down to an episode every other week.
Yeah.
Some weeks I'm like, oh, I have a little bit more time. I can easily we could go back to an episode every week. Totally fine.
Yeah.
And then I start thinking, okay, that means booking guests. That means editing. That means this. Like, it's not like, oh, shoot, something happened this week. We're just an episode or two ahead. That's okay. It's not detrimental to the whole podcast kind of thing. And so, sure. I mean, because anyone who is in this world, consistency really is what gets, you know, what
views and listens.
And that's not even the goal, but to keep you relevant, right? Yeah. If I'm listening to a podcast, if I followed it or whatever, and if they don't do it or they're really sporadic about how many episodes, I kind of lose interest. And then it's like, oh, you know, that's not a podcast I'm going to listen to very often or a show I want to watch kind of thing. I feel really short.
It's funny that you say that because there's a podcast that I used to listen to. And the last time I listened to them was they went on a winter break just for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, oh, I don't want to listen to a rerun. And so it like broke my habit of listening to them. And the funny thing about it is I'm the first person to encourage like, hey, during those times of years, many podcasts take breaks. Let's take breaks.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Well, and there's lots of podcasts that do seasons.
Yeah.
Right. And then they take like a month or two or a couple weeks, something in between seasons. It really is just up to you and your audience. But y'all know every other week we will be here. We're here for you.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I do very much love it.
What's been weird is seeing my face on YouTube. When I've like scrolled through, because I follow us, right? And I don't always watch the videos, but they'll randomly, when I'll hit home, and it kind of like auto-populates like a list. Mm-hmm. And then like I did my coming out episode, and I looked at that, and I was like, oh, that's me.
Oh, that's me.
Look how cute I am.
Right? There's sometimes that like stuff like that will happen. Or yeah, like I'll be scrolling. I think that was what made the Pop Sugar article so exciting.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, look at all these episodes, or not episodes, podcasts.
And
these are all like, really good quality sex podcasts, right? And I was like, that's so cool. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm tagged in this? That's why it came up on my feed.
Oh, cool.
Because our Salty Sex Cast Instagram was tagged on it. And I was like, I had no clue. No one emailed us like, hey, we want to like talk about your podcast, nothing. And so it was really, really cool just to have that like randomly come up. And then just just kind of see that. It felt really good. It just validated a lot of the work we've put in.
And it was a really cool picture we had just taken that they put as the thumbnail.
Yeah. Our new I almost said logo, cover art.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. By Glowho Photo, or is it Glowho Photography? I'm so sorry.
I like it better
Bethany.
the first way.
Okay.
Yeah. Glowho Photo. That sounds cool.
Yeah. So, and they did such a good job. You know how we were the first that they had gone out to the salt flats
Yeah.
to take those photos. So if anyone hasn't seen or really knew about our photos, they're taken out in the salt flats, the Bonneville salt flats, and it's 3 hours? No, 2 hours there, 2 hours back for us.
I think it was about 2 hours there, 2 hours back.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a drive for a location shoot. Did such a great job being their first time, whatever, you're still kind of figuring out because it's white salt. It reflects a lot of light. There's some adjustments, right? Any good photographer can figure that out, which they did great.
I hit 106 when we hit the salt flats.
That's
I made it
right,
up to 106 on my bike.
On your motorcycle, yep. But now they are so booked out with people wanting the salt flats.
Oh, it's so cool.
So, pretty cool. Great job.
Hopefully they're getting reimbursed well for the fuel because that's a long drive. I was like riding my motorcycle out there. I was in pain on the way back.
Yeah, I'm sure. 2 hours, and that's not really a cruiser, like long.
No, the motorcycle
distance.
that I took out there is not a cruiser. Mm-hmm. Like it's a city bike.
Yeah.
You just mess around downtown and then go home. You don't jump on it for 3 hours and just down the freeway.
And it was so hot, and you were in a suit.
Yeah, I was wearing a suit going down the freeway.
All the things you do for the podcast.
Yeah.
So, really cool. Yeah, so it was just really cool to see us.
And you got Jamie to flash me on the freeway.
I did. It was really fun. I was like, do it. Because Jamie came with me. She was in my passenger seat. I was driving, and we were passing you because I'm speed demon. And yeah, I was like, green bike, red suit. We got Santa Claus coming up.
That's kind of how it felt as I was going down the freeway. I was like, are people going to think I'm Santa?
Yeah. Because you have a lime green. It's
Kawasaki green.
Or I was going to say Kelly green, but
anyone who likes Kawasaki will know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
And those who don't, that's the green you can associate. Google it. Yeah, and then you had a red suit on, and for the photos, and it was funny. So
Jamie finally got me to watch How I Met Your Mother. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna get a pinstripe suit after seeing Barney.
Nice.
So
I love that character in that show, especially because he's gay in real life. Like, it just makes me so happy.
Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris is like,
oh yeah,
yeah. His husband's cute.
Yeah.
Skinny little thing.
And he just comes off as such a dog in the show. Like, just
so bad.
So funny. Crazy versus hot scale. Oh, mm-hmm. I love that he just breaks out into this diagram, and he's like, you haven't heard this? And that's what I love about that character. Barney's character. Oh my God, it's been a minute since I've seen that show. It's been a minute since I've watched anything. Yeah.
So this is really not sex-based, but I'm just curious as to your thoughts about it.
Okay.
Did you watch the Inspiration 4 mission? Or follow that at all? That Elon Musk did for SpaceX?
No.
Oh. They just put 4 civilians in space. And the whole thing was to raise money for St. Jude's.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well.
But since you didn't follow it, I won't talk anymore about it.
Yeah. You can take your stupid sweatshirt somewhere else. I'm losing money on that.
Dogecoin?
Yes.
Oh, come on. It'll do fine.
Brady talked me into it.
It's a long-term investment.
It is.
I warned you guys it was a long-term investment, and cryptocurrency is volatile.
Yeah. No, and that's why I'm I don't pull my money as soon as it drops, but right now it's still not doing me a favor.
To be fair, I bought into the pot company you did.
This is the thing you don't want to pull out of. You let that marinate. You sit in there and you let that marinate. What?
The pot company or Dogecoin?
Anything that we're talking about.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to bring it back to sex.
Oh,
in case we lost anyone.
You got to soak
it in there. Yeah. Marinate in those juices.
We should tell people who aren't from Utah what soaking is. Have we talked about that before?
I'm not sure. But I feel like it's kind of starting to get around.
It's so
like
it was
people start to like, because now that's what we're known for more than green Jello now.
so we're known for soaking more than green Jello, or anal doesn't count. So what it is teenagers who are like, oh, it's not really sex if you just
or Mormons who are at BYU.
Yeah, Mormons who are at BYU, not even teenagers. They could be adults who just aren't married yet. Get around the whole Jesus doesn't want you to have premarital sex thing with loopholes. And so one of the things that loopholes
or
buttholes. One of the things was anal. Anal doesn't count. Jesus can't see your butthole.
Jesus can't see it. I haven't heard that one.
I just made it up, I think.
I think.
I don't know if I heard it somewhere else, so I don't want to take credit just in case.
Yeah, don't be that comedian.
Jesus can't see your butthole.
Okay.
Or they would soak it, which is where you would just like put your cock in and then not move. And then I remember when I was in high school, some of the guys were talking about like, yeah, man, you could just be like, oh, my arms are tired, and kind of like shift around to stimulate yourself.
Or a girl could sit there and flex. I wonder if that would get anyone off enough. I don't know. Being that sex starved, maybe.
I mean,
because they're not supposed to play with their penises either.
Yeah, they're not supposed to masturbate.
Yeah.
Yeah. There used to be an old pamphlet. I wish I could find it. I've got it somewhere. I had it somewhere. There's a pamphlet that talks about like wearing a particular type of pajamas to prevent yourself from masturbating accidentally in your sleep, and binding your hands.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I've got to find this pamphlet, but it was from the church.
Can we start decorating the studio with like dumb propaganda?
Yes.
Like that. It doesn't have to just be church stuff or religious stuff, but like, you know, like the old saying, like if you masturbate, you're going to get hairy palms.
Or go blind.
Yeah. Like see if we can find actual like articles or copies of something.
I'm sure it's out there. I'm sure it's all over the place.
There's one where that's from the 1950s about the Lysol douche. That's where Lysol.
Lemony Fresh?
Made a lot of women really sick.
Oh my God.
But there was an actual douche with Lysol in the 1950s. And the ad is like, don't shut me out, John, because I'm stinky or something. And it's like a door. And this girl like on the other side of it looking really sad and like trying to knock and like trying to get in.
Because I'm stinky? Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. What a shitty advertisement.
So I've got a question for you, because this is a conversation Jamie and I have had in the past. If you're fooling around with somebody, a female.
So female and female?
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe things aren't so fresh. How do you broach that topic?
How do you tell them about it?
Yeah, because I generally would say something like, hey, I'm not trying to be mean and I'm not displeased. But I am concerned. Maybe something might be off.
Yeah. So for any of our listeners who play with people with
vaginas,
how do you approach like, hey, there might be something going on?
Yeah.
Also, how do you know if it's not just their natural?
Right.
You know, you could always just say like, hey, have you noticed anything different about your own like discharge recently or anything like that? Because if they've noticed or if they think about it, if anything's changed, something's going on, maybe they could and just be like, oh, okay, you know, I just noticed it was a little bit different than normal. You could just say that, and that could be a nice way. But if it's a first time encounter, that's what's hard.
Yeah.
If it's a one-time encounter, I would just make excuses not to go back down there. I'm that person. I'm not going to say something for one-time thing.
Sure. No, I mean, I get it if it's like a one-night stand. You're not going to be like, hey, by the way, sneaky pussy. And then just like run out the door. I get that.
Go see a doctor.
Go find a doctor. Get some Lysol.
Yeah, but if it's a like long-term partner,
yeah,
you could just say, hey, like I noticed some different.
No, I noticed a difference.
Have you been stressed? You can say it very kindly, right? There's a really funny story, and I don't have permission to tell it, but if I get permission, please remind me of sour pennies.
Okay.
So, you know what? Actually, I can probably tell the story because I can say it without giving any names away. I have a friend who is a woman who likes other women, and she was dating another lady, and like going down on her, and she was just like, bro, something's going on with you, and thought it was because this girl wasn't drinking enough water. Oh. So she kept trying to be like, here, like anytime for like the next couple of weeks they were dating, like, I guess not a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of days, right?
Just show up at work with like a gallon of water.
Right? Like, oh, here, I'm going to get some water. You want some water? Hey, I got both of us water kind of thing. Just thought the girl was dehydrated. Turns out my friend who was trying to force feed water to this other girl got COVID. And had COVID, and COVID fucks with your taste buds and everything and your smell.
Yeah.
So there was nothing wrong with girl number 2. Girl number 1 just had COVID.
Oh my God.
And was like, it tasted like sour pennies. And I'm like, that's the funniest shit ever. So anytime something tastes weird,
sour pennies.
Like, sour pennies. It just, yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Super fucking funny, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you could just be like, oh, hey, has your diet changed? I don't know. I wouldn't say that either. that's a volatile thing to say.
Just call me fat.
Right?
And stinky.
But yeah, just be like, oh, have you noticed anything different? I kind of noticed just a change. And that's like a good way to like approach it and be like, it wasn't like, it was a change maybe on the other side of the spectrum. I don't know if you want to say that, but if it's like someone you're kind of dating, it hasn't really been a long-term thing, but you still don't want to like be a dick to this person.
Yeah.
You could just be like, hey, so I've been with other people and they tasted kind of different. Like, I'm just kind of curious. Maybe that's what it was or something. You can come up with a conversation. There are just some people that may have like a pheromone that you're just not. There's also girls change whatever time of their cycle.
Sure.
So that's something that my husband always said, that I tasted very different when I was pregnant. He was so mean about it. And I was so
self-conscious.
So self-conscious. Yeah. I was like, that was not nice to say, this poor fat pregnant lady. Yeah. I was already hating my body. I'm trying to birth
your child.
Right? I was already hating my body. Anyway.
That's funny.
So just knowing like hormones change, like if you're going through menopause, if you change birth controls even will fuck with the stuff going on down there. So many things. Diet, like it sucks how temperamental that pH balance of, I mean, it's a self-cleaning mechanism. So anything's going to teeter and change things. You increase partners. You increase a new partner, like, especially, I think.
Well, you see it on Twitter where girls are kind of like, is this person worth fucking my pH up for?
Right?
So.
Sometimes. That's T-mine, I'm not going to even talk about it. But it does. Like, sometimes I'm like, my vagina smells like I haven't had sex in a while. All right, I said it. I don't give a shit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but it's just like, I'm bad, but there's a difference. Yeah. Also, my spouse comes in me, right? Like,
sure,
I don't have anything I'm worried about. So
I'm fortunate enough.
Stays consistently at a certain thing that I expect.
Yeah.
So when that changes, I'm all, it's been a minute since we've had sex or something's going on with me. Luckily, I am not one that is easily tipped one or the other.
Yeah. I'm fortunate enough, like Jamie is, I don't want to say she's self-conscious, but she's aware that it can change.
Yeah.
So she always kind of checks in with me. And then I've always told her that if I do go down there and it's not good, I'll stop. And then we can talk about that after. I've never had to.
I know my spouse will and be like, something different right now. Like,
I like that look on your face.
Yeah.
Go to YouTube and look at Mariah's face.
Yeah, something different right now. And I'm like, what? But I also like shower daily.
Yeah.
And I am in a habit of when I shower, you stick a finger up there and just check the consistency of what's going on.
Check the oil.
I really do.
Yeah.
It's not like I stick soap up there, but when I'm kind of cleaning, I'm just like, all right. Sometimes you can smell it if you want, like whatever. When you go to the bathroom, You can check what's going on in like discharge area, what's going on in your undies.
That was something that was interesting that I was kind of surprised. I didn't know this, but Jamie kind of surprised me with it, was that, you know, sometimes she can just going to the bathroom, like kind of catch a whiff.
Oh yeah, I always
like,
do. Or sometimes I'll be like sitting there like on my phone or something. Because I can't even pee now without like being on my phone.
Right. We used to read shampoo bottles, and now
it's 5 minutes to myself. Okay, I'm gonna do something in the bathroom. Anyway, and I'll be like, that's different. Or there's like the reaching down and like lifting it up to your nose. And you're like, oh, huh.
This is going to be the best episode for YouTube ever.
I went to the gym earlier, you know, something like that. And I'm just trying to connect the dots, but it does happen. Like I totally do that.
I mean, guys are kind of fortunate in the sense that we don't have that trap.
More women should get used to that and really pay attention to your changes. Is it a hormonal change? Is it something very, very different? If it changes color to like a green, yellow tinted, or is chunky, something's really up and has like a sour smell to it. I don't know. It's been
sour, like sauerkraut, like pickled, or like.
Is that what they say usually if something's going on, like yeast infection has like yeast infection is like sourdough bread. Yeah, okay.
Sourdough bread.
Yeast infection. Well, yeast, I guess that makes sense. Would it smell like sourdough bread? That's how long it's been. It has been probably years, knocking on all this wood right here, since I've had a yeast infection. So, yeah, it's like there's a smell change, like very different. Sometimes there's just a smell change of like, worked out real hard today.
Right.
I'm going to go hop in the shower.
Sure.
So
I have had experiences with bacterial vaginosis. I'm getting the head nod there. It smelled like an animal exhibit.
Oh.
Yeah. And that had to be actually treated.
Yeah. And that wasn't.
With antibiotics.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's nothing to be ashamed of.
It's good to be aware of. That way it doesn't continue to be an issue or maybe cause damage. So if you can
have that conversation with a partner, if you can ask, there's so many times that I'm like, hey, how did I taste? You know?
Jamie asked me right when I get started, everything good down there?
A little tap tap.
Yep. And then, and then I have to remind her,
from
like
1 to 10, how fresh is it?
Then I'm always like, I have to like, you know, like stop and go, yeah, because if it wasn't, I would not be doing this.
I know.
You know, I would come back.
Well, there are times that like someone's going down on me because it's, you know, and then they'll like kiss on the thighs or like explore other areas. And I was like, oh, they went down and I wasn't good. It wasn't good. And they're trying to avoid it and just be kind. And like, we'll just spend some time down here doing something, keeping you occupied, you know? Yeah. But no, I have yet to have someone tell me something's going on. So either they're all fucking lying to me. Well, other than Justin when I was pregnant. He's just like, yeah, it was just different. And I was like, was it bad? Did I stink? Like, you know, so worried about it. And he's just like, it was just different. It wasn't my favorite. Like, that's the kindest way your partner can say, yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, but like a lot of things change during hormone shifts, whatever. Introduce new partners, pHs, soaps, detergents, like, you know, clothing detergents can screw with things, different toilet paper. Don't fucking douche. Okay?
And don't use toilet paper with dyes.
Who uses toilet paper with dyes?
I've seen dyed Chinese toilet paper when I was in the military.
I remember like that pink.
Yeah.
Like that really, really pale pink toilet paper. I haven't seen it for years, but I do remember.
It's bad for people. They use flower print and all that kind of stuff used to exist.
Well, and then there's like gag toilet paper that you can get from like the gift shop that has like, you know, the sports team that everyone's like, yeah, this team is worth wiping your shit with. But
we've got some that we've sort of set aside for like a party to be funny, to like set it out. And it's like a bunch of sex positions, but I would hope most people don't use it because it's got black ink in it. Huh? That's all we could buy during COVID. That's how we ended up with it. And I was like, if we don't use it.
I panicked recently because Costco again went out of toilet paper and I was like, motherfuckers, toilet paper isn't doing anything for you. It's just fucking pissing me off. Stop hoarding it. So if anyone's listening, And you were that shitty person who hoarded toilet paper.
Well, they're not shitty because they have the toilet paper.
Shush up. Shush. I wish a yeast infection on you and your family.
Your whole family is
whole family. Yeast to the face. I don't give a shit. Get shingles, asshole.
God.
No, it pissed me off. And I'm like, what are you going to do with hoarding toilet paper?
So is it a shopping issue or is it a shipping issue? Because I work in a unique industry and I mean really like the weirdest things.
Well, people
are like, it's COVID, it's messing things up.
Yeah, a lot of it's just the continual line of, manufacturer to shipper to everything. People are getting sick with COVID, so they have to take time off. We're just not at full capacity anywhere, especially if we get things overseas. That's really slow.
I do believe Amazon and UPS are actually going to stop screening for marijuana to increase their driver pool.
Oh, so if you're a smoker, you can work for them.
So as long as you're not showing up actively high, I think they're going to allow it.
After the shutdown, after everyone's been working from home, if anyone still is screening for for that's silly. You're gonna lose half your workforce.
Yeah.
Anyway, it just needs to be legal everywhere. Let's not to get political or anything. So
it should be.
One more time, do your little flashy hand thing. Did you just grab a boob in the air?
Pretty much, yeah.
Does that mean we're at 50 minutes?
Yeah. We used to have the TV.
We did. Now I can't see, and I didn't realize we were droning on so long. I mean, we talked about sex.
We're doing good. Yeah, we talked about sex. We talked about yeasty vaginas.
Sour pennies.
Sour pennies.
That's going to be the title of this episode.
Yep. Queet.
I should have got permission to talk about that story, but that's okay.
I don't have any idea who you're talking about, and I feel like I kind of know your circle. You could
probably, it's okay.
Well, I'm not gonna try to figure it out.
No, you're fine.
Plus, I do remember when I got COVID, I had an experience where I think we'll talk about it off air. I don't know if this one's ready for on air yet.
Oh, okay.
I'll talk to Jamie about it first.
Yeah. Did you shit all over the bed?
No.
I'm just kidding. No. Things that we've been up to. The shipping, the manufacturer, all that. Yeah, there's just been a disruption in things.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to get your sex toys from China, it's going to be a minute, folks.
Yeah, they're having a hard time making silicone, and then by the time it gets to the plant where they make it.
Mm-hmm. So if you would like a silicone mold of Brady's dick, you can email us at saltysexcast@gmail.com. I think that the price point you were playing with was $100.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's homegrown.
Custom colored.
Veins and all. I mean, it's a good mold. You've got it's not like...
I use a vacuum and everything.
Yeah.
It pops all the bubbles. So
sex safe silicone.
Glow in the dark custom colors.
Ooh, you getting fancy.
Yeah.
Just US shipping or worldwide, friend? 100+ shipping. Is that
we'll talk about it. Yeah. So we'll talk about it in the email. Because, I mean, if it might be kind of expensive to send it to Antarctica. But
well, you know what? If they're paying $100 and then shipping.
Yeah. We'll make it work. We can talk about it.
I did order something really...
I just don't need the cops showing up because Interpol x-rayed one of my packages and was like, is this a dick? You can't internationally send dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
International penis.
Yeah.
I did get something custom made from the UK. It took a minute to get here.
What is it?
It was my Jurassic Park shoes.
Oh, yeah, I remember those.
And the heels light up.
Are they here yet?
Yeah, I have them. I've worn them. So what was the unique thing about me for work?
You're a velociraptor?
No, it was... I was like, oh yeah, I have a lot of shoes. And they were like, how many? And I was like, I don't know, 40+ pairs, right? I was like ballparking it. I was like, yeah, sure. And they were like, how many? And so I was like, okay, I'll go count. I was so fucking embarrassed after I counted.
Now I want to know.
I thought it was 40 or more, 40, maybe 50, right? I was just trying to lowball it because whatever. Because I'm usually quite dramatic and I blow things out of proportion. 80 pairs of shoes.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of them I just don't wear. They're just like display shoes, like the Jurassic Park heels.
I went through a period of time where I didn't have to buy clothes just for work. And like every week I was going out and buying another pair of Converse shoes. So I'm not at 80 pairs, but I have a very large box in the basement just full of every color of Converse.
That would be hard pressed. You'd start having to do like the lady Converse where they have like the different colors, tongues and layers. And
yeah.
You know, because
I was buying like
I feel
laces and
yeah, because I feel like the guys, they're kind of like basic. Some of them are printed, but they're usually typically like the solid colors. Like there's not a whole lot. It would be really cool if someone had a collection of 80 pairs of Converses. So that's what we've been up to. Collecting shoes.
and making dicks.
And cleaning vaginas. Yep. Just kidding. My vagina's she works
Every
all day. She works all day.
Yeah.
They're in my human sexuality textbook.
Your vagina?
There is an X. What? My vagina?
It's in the textbook?
No.
Oh, okay.
In the human sexuality textbook that I use for the course I teach.
Gotcha.
There is an exercise plan
for vaginas
to work out your Kegels.
Yeah.
And they have the man Kegels in there.
Do they?
Do they? They do.
You should send me a copy of the text.
So yeah, I thought it'd be fun for our patrons to
compare notes.
Yeah, or maybe we'll just make it a social media post. Yeah, sign up for the course.
Shit.
Come to the college I work at, and that I will not put on this podcast because I separate
work and passion projects.
Yeah, this is pretty much play. We have fun. So much fun. Just meeting the people. We know some cool podcast friends. Big shout out to Brian Hellbach of the IGY 622 podcast. He does our intro and outro. So that deep, sexy voice you all hear, it's a pretty cool guy.
Yep.
And a really cool project that he does.
So he checked on me just recently. Yeah, he did a Battle Buddy check.
That's amazing.
What with everything in the news and all that stuff. He was I've heard from people that I haven't heard from in years. I
love when communities come together like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's not easy to go through that stuff, but no one's going through it alone. Yeah. So if you're ever going through a hard time, just know that there's someone out there for you who wants to care for you. You're never a burden. Your thoughts, your feelings are never a burden on someone else.
Yep.
So
100%. Are you excited to do an after hours episode?
I am. I'm bringing the energy. Let's do this.
Patrons, get ready. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about naked people and running.
Naked
people.
Naked people. All right. Well, hit us up. We're on Instagram.
We are.
We're on. Okay. Let's see if I can fuck up our Instagram handle. It is salty.s.e.x.cast.
Wow.
At symbol before all of that. and we're on Facebook. You could just search us Salty Sex Cast. We'll come up. We're the only ones with that name so far. And if someone else decides to steal it, I'll hit you with a dildo that's made from Brady's dick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come at you.
We'll use the special expansion silicone. Get a really
the
big
grower one.
Just get like a big old bat.
You know those little toys that you could like grow?
Yeah.
I want to. Can we figure out the material and do grow a willy?
I think we could do grow a dick. Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be fun.
I've been thinking about doing the shrinking molds so that I could make like keychain dicks.
Nice.
Yeah. Out of
like keychain of your actual.
Yeah, of my dick.
Yeah, that's funny. Just shrunk to
keychain proportions.
There you go.
Yeah, like the length of a house key.
Yeah, it'd be funny.
Yeah,
it'd be funny.
It'd be hilarious.
I like it. I'll put it on my keys.
Find us at Twitter at SaltySexCast, Gmail at SaltySexCast.com.
What?
Or SaltySexCast at gmail.com.
There you go.
Email us there.
And,
we're not porn producers, by the way.
And patreon.com/SaltySexCast. You cannot search for us And I had a friend who just recently said, hey, I can't find you on Patreon. And I was like,
Gotta type
bro,
in the address.
do you not listen? We tell everybody this. Naughty, trying to search for us. We are adult content. So you have to know our super secret handshake,
I wonder if
which really is just the / Salty Sex Cast.
This might sound kind of funny, but I wonder if we could put, we put this on YouTube. Why can't we put it on Pornhub?
Okay, you do the research. You tell me if we can do it.
We can. People.
I know,
yeah.
they do. So
I'll figure out how.
do the research to do it, because I love you so much. And I'm too busy.
Okay, I'll look into it.
All right.
If I remember.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thanks for joining us again. And we will see you in a couple of weeks, all of you sexy souls. And remember, you're not the boss of my body.
Thank you for listening to the Salty Sex Cast. Ready for round 2? Find us on Facebook.